So we have you on the Marksman.
Mm-hmm.
How is that?
So, uh, you have a marksman, so you definitely know like trying to train with it's kind of a pain,
Mm-hmm.
especially when you jump over a mob and you shoot your arrow and you try to just whiff it, and it
Oh
kind of
yeah.
ruins your entire rotation.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, you split shot,
Yes,
right? So you can't whiff.
50% of the time. 50% of the time it's real nice, and
Yeah.
50% of the time you kind of if you
Yep.
mess up, well then there goes like I don't know, 10 seconds of your time trying to jump back up and shoot that platform that you missed.
Yup.
Yeah, so you know how like Pathfinder is able to like open job advancement soon, so I'm
Mm-hmm.
probably gonna look forward to that and then see how I like that, and then depending on how I feel about it, I might change back to Marksman or stay as Pathfinder.
Mm-hmm. What is the main thing that you like and dislike?
About Marksman,
Mm-hmm.
Marksman bossing, it's like pretty easy, you know, like pop all your buffs and then just spam snipe at the boss, and then also the long range. I haven't cleared normal Lucid in a party, but I have gotten like kind of carried by it. And then when the dragon comes down, you're still able to shoot Lucid from down there. So that was pretty nice.
Mm-hmm.
And also arrow illusion's real nice for Lomian, because you can kind of pseudo bind Lotus, and he just kind of targets the arrow illusion the entire time. Makes it pretty easy to solo.
Yeah, how well does that work? Because I feel like sometimes it works, but sometimes it doesn't. But did they change, like, because the positioning was determining before, right? I think they patched that to make it more reliant.
Was that recently? Because I did it until this recent patch.
I think so. I don't know. I just know that like Arrow Illusion didn't seem very consistent, so I usually just didn't rely on it very much.
Yeah. You know, like the marksman Ivan Gold? He's in normal
Yeah.
MapleStory.
Mm-hmm.
He put out a video like showing how to arrow illusion bind like a bunch of bosses. And for Lotus, you mostly just wait for him to teleport or go into like that purple phase.
Right.
And
Because
then
I think
after
when they
that,
teleport, it kind of resets, right? You have to like reapply or something.
not for me. Actually,
Hmm.
after like the first arrow illusion, he kind of just targeted it whenever I put it down. I didn't have to like time it or anything.
Okay. Maybe there's a trick to it that I just never really looked into. Yeah, I just do weekly bosses and then like one hard boss on it. It's not really like I'm actively maining it, so don't really
Yeah.
spend as much time as I could trying to figure out all the intricacies of the class.
Uh, I mean, the class has its shortcomings with mobbing and stuff. So,
Uh huh.
but since you're maining a different class, so it's not really that worth it.
Okay. Well, with the switch with Pathfinder, it'll be pretty big, like the weapon and the secondary, right? You need backups for
Yeah.
that, and then you need all of your nodes basically to start over from scratch.
Yeah, so I have an Absolab Pathfinder weapon. I have like 4 Japanese weapons that I'm probably planning to like. I don't know how much Star Force I wanted to get on them. But I'm probably
Mm-hmm.
gonna aim for like higher than my current crossbow and then transfer it over.
Mm-hmm.
And then I have a bunch of Pens no secondary mats as well.
Okay.
And then have like 200 node stones saved up.
Mm-hmm.
It's probably not enough, but it's enough to like get going, I guess. Especially since my current nodes aren't even that high, honestly. Like my trio is decent, but everything else is like level 5 to like level 10.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's kind of normal, I
So
think, at this stage. You don't want to go
okay.
overboard.
I look at like the reboot, like the Discord for bosses, and everyone's like, "Oh, I have max try nodes or like near max nodes." I'm just like, Jesus Christ, how do you guys have so many nodes? I'm like struggling out here.
Mm-hmm.
Especially since my split shot's super weak, but I can't put any more nodes into it because I need to save them for Pathfinder.
Yeah, I think I left my split shot I think at level 3 or something, all the way up to 250.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I mean it's still one shots as long as your gear is okay and everything else is okay. Like you kill with it, and for
Oh,
bossing, from bossing it would matter to make your bossing faster. But like the main important skill to level up would be vicious shot for your burst, right?
yeah. I can't keep picture either because I just don't have any nodes to burn. But
Yeah,
I was
exactly.
thinking
Yeah.
about that.
Well, usually it's just your boost node. Well, it depends, right? So some classes just have higher uptime or just a higher damage dependence on a fifth job skill, and then you just need to boost that one first over, sometimes even over your boost nodes. But that's an exception. For most classes, it's your boost nodes that are attacking all the time and doing the blunt of your damage. And then, there'll be like one exception, like one skill node that's very important. Like for Kana, there's Domain, and for Hero, there's the Burning Soul Blade, and then for the Archers, there's Vicious Shot to make sure that your burst is higher. But then you're already giving yourself a whole bunch of extra critical damage during your burst, which means that those other skills are like indirectly getting buffed as well.
Yeah. It's just sometimes during training my split shot doesn't one shot. So that's why I was thinking I need to buff it up.
Okay. Yeah, it's only it's mainly like the skills where the percentages get better, like the conversion, like Vicious Shot, or the uptime goes better. That's mainly where you focus on leveling. But I guess for Vicious Shot, it's just the damage percentage, right?
Yeah. It's the percentage of conversion as well.
Yeah, because you're at
That's
you train at MTS.
MTS 2. There's like BA somewhere in that.
Yeah.
That shows like that was a little bit while ago. I got 20% more Meso since then, but the EXP should be fairly consistent. I mean, stuck at MTS 2 because I can't go to Celis because I don't one shot him at SSS, and finding depth is a little bit awkward for Marksman because it's so vertical. So I was trying to change that final Edge of Light, but then that problem where you jump over the mobs and kind of ruins the aerial.
Yeah.
So I just had to stick at MTS because the mobs are pretty big, and then I have a pretty good rotation there.
Is that the map where you just stand in the middle and like split shot to the sides?
MTS 2, yeah, for split shot, you just stand in the middle, jump down.
Yeah, jump down, jump up,
right.
jump up, jump out.
Yeah. And then for the no split shot rotation, just jump in a circle.
Yeah. And use your high speed shot and the surge. What is it? Surge bolt. Yeah.
Yeah. So if you do a little short hop in the middle platforms, you can hit all 3 platforms. So I just been like jumping around like doing that. I didn't mostly rely on piercing arrow and surge bolt.
I think I was still in. I think I went all the way to 250 in Arcana. I don't remember what map it was exactly. Not side path.
Side path's a little bit hard to get to now these days.
Was it low? Is it lower path?
Was it deep in the cave? There's a certain Marksman map that was really good that I trained in. I think it's Labyrinthine Cavern.
Just Labyrinthine Cavern, I think, right? Yeah, this
Yeah.
one. Yeah, this is where I trained on mine. Because if you're not at the point where you can one-shot yet in MTS, it might be better to go in a map where, you know, the monsters are a little bit weaker, but if you can one-shot, that's a huge difference in experience per hour usually, right?
Yeah, MTS has been fine ever since the last 5, 10, 15. I got all my equips to 16 star basically. So since then, like, it's been pretty easy to one-shot. So I was in Labyrinthine Cavern up until that point. But for not one-shotting with split shot, I was mostly thinking of like Celis maps. It's like in the Final Edge of Light, I can't one-shot with split shot only, but with like everything else.
Yeah, would it be like SSS 1? SSS 2?
I think it's SSS 5. That was the good one for Marksman.
5. Yeah, I can go there on this character, but... Okay, so that's... And the main thing is going to be like... Well, yeah, so your boost nodes are lowish, and what's your arcane power at? 1035.
That's with 5 arcane force in my hyperstats.
Is it a bit lower now because of the skill? Or higher because of the skill? Because this was with the VIP, I think, right?
Yeah, it's like 1035 right now with level 1 Neo Force.
Okay.
So 1025 without it, looks like.
Okay, so for Celis at least that's good on the stat.
Yeah, at 150%, it's just I still can't one shot cleanly.
So your burst gives you 85% critical damage? No, it's... That's pretty big.
Yeah, so the left is like unbuffed, nothing up, nothing at all, and then right is like with everything. With like everything by mean like just like my self buffs, no like guild skills and no like potions or whatever.
Oh yeah, okay. Like how much you have in burst, but without the burst skills, burst buffs.
Yeah.
Like external buffs, I guess. Okay.
And then my sad link skills, where I don't even have it all filled out.
Oh, you have one equip on differently though, right? You have the different pendant probably in the right picture.
Oh, yeah, that's right pendant. I have a dominator pendant. It's probably a little bit lower. It's on Meso %, but still gives me like 200k extra range.
Yeah. Yeah, because you have like 7 more Star Force on the right one, so.
Yeah,
that's probably from that.
Decent flame that I'm probably going to transfer over once I find another 20% Meso pendant, which is probably going to be my reinforced pendant. Just so I have like 100% Meso before I transfer it over.
The hypers. Okay, so yeah, so you still have to wait a bit. So is the main thing just that you're... Well, so with this character, we don't really want to go too hard, I guess, for any of the stuff that's specific to Marksman for now. The main thing is going to be just like making nodes and then seeing if you like Pathfinder better. I think you're going to like the mobbing better, but probably like the bossing less is going to be, I think.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
So it depends on what you or what you generally get more enjoyment out of. You could also just do the mobbing and then get the mobbing, I don't know, get to the point where you're like 255 or where you can kill in new areas faster as a marksman and switch back, something like that. It's kind of like what thieves do, right?
Yeah, that's how I was gonna leave like all my nodes the same and not like shove them to some Pathfinder node.
Yeah, I think a lot of thieves do that. Like Night Lords, they'll or like dual blades will switch to Night Lords, for example, for like easier training, and then after a while switch back, something like that. Can be expensive, of course, if you switch a lot, but
yeah, I'm probably gonna buy like that job advancement coin during events.
Yeah, exactly.
Transfer every time. But I looked at it and it's like over $1 bill per transfer.
Yep.
And I'm a poor man, so I can't really.
It's pretty expensive pretty quickly, yeah. So what I'm... Yeah, okay. So with everything... So we'll go everything like kind of like one chapter at a time and see what we can do to move you forward, but it's good to have that backup. So your main source of income is also this?
Yeah, so I have a Kana farmer, but it's only level 215. It has 20% meso, so you know it's not really ready yet. So that's why I got 100% meso on this character, because I figured I already had a couple of legendary accessory gear, so just cube it. And then once I get enough accessories, that I can just cube it back to actually have some extra damage. Instead of just relying.
Exactly, because you don't lose much kill potential at all from the accessories anyway, but you get a lot of utility out of it.
Yeah. Also, it's kind of sad doing a totem, and after the totem, I see I only got like 200 mil.
And now a totem makes you like 800 mil.
Yeah, a little bit over 900.
Yeah.
With the extra 20% that I got.
Yeah.
And also up until then, I didn't know about Legion meso coupons, so that's helped a lot.
Ah, okay. Yeah, that's an eye opener.
I just ignored them for a long time, and then realized, oh shit, that's 50% extra meso. That's quite a bit.
Yeah, it's quite a bit. Yeah. So how are you with? That means you have a bunch of Legion coins saved up. It looks like it.
Like around 2,000. Sometimes I get lazy when training and I just burn those like the level up pots for my meals.
Right.
Yeah, I try to keep it around like 2,000-ish usually.
So what is your I guess we can start with Legion and links and stuff. What's your plan on that? Do you have a specific goal in mind, or are you just like slowly working on that?
Yeah, just slowly working on it. I have some Legion meals. So like I'm working on Hayato right now with the Terra Burning. And then I need to make an arc as well for the link skills. Right.
You're gonna like you're gonna try to get them to 220 for the extra benefits?
Hayato I'll probably leave at 200 just for like the level 4 link. And then Arc, I might try to push for 220 because I feel like that class is pretty easy to train with compared to like Hayato.
Yeah, I didn't go over this in the video, but there is... so Hayato, once you reach 200, basically becomes a completely new class and gives you a bunch of AoEs that you can just alternate between that just mow down the whole map, kind of. The mobbing actually becomes kind of ridiculous. The reason I'm mentioning it as an option is because there is all of the extra nodes that you get from leveling. And what you can do is you can open up the nodes, level up stuff, and just extract it again, and then or disassemble, and with the shards make node stones, and then transfer those over to your marksman or to your when you go to your Pathfinder.
Oh, you can make node stones from those shards?
Yeah. And those are like the transferable ones, like the same ones that drop from monsters.
Oh,
so there's like a reduced efficiency, of course, but if you're not going to continue the Hayato anyway, like you can get pretty far just with the level 1 link skills, because they're just really, really strong. Level 1 skills, skill nodes. They're just really, really strong at level 1. And then
after I'm done with him, I just strip him of all his gear. And
exactly.
nodes.
You keep like the level 1 skill nodes, just in case for a rainy day or something. But you can strip them of all the reward nodes. Just open them all up. Disenchant shards. Like use the special nodes to level up the node, get more shards from the extraction, and then make node stones and transfer them back. That way you can still get some extra value out of that.
Yeah, I could. Yeah. You think I should push for 210 at least on both of the Terra Burnings then? But I can also do that with Arc. I'm not sure if I'm gonna actually play him ever again after the burning.
Yeah, yeah. I would definitely at least go to 210 for the level 3 link because I think it's one of the best links in the game. I think if you get both of those to 220, they could also be viable like CRA mules where they're strong enough to kill CRA every week, so you can earn your pieces back, and then when you have your extra gear, you can just you can use them to kill CRA. That'll be 200 mil every week that you can make like that.
Yeah, I was thinking about leaving Arc as like a CRA meal.
I think they both have very good 5th job kits that will allow you to do a whole bunch of damage really quickly. Like the skills seem to scale very, like just be like a huge damage increase as soon as you have access to them.
Yeah, I mean, I'm also a bit lazy with like my meals. Like I've been a Dill mule that it's like 210. I could probably make it a CRA meal, but I just never hop onto it. It's just
yeah. If you don't have the desire and you don't have the time, then you don't want to force yourself either, of course.
yeah. Time is a bit awkward because I usually only pop like 4 totems a month. I don't play too much besides dailies.
Is that because of like the freedom of when you have time, or just like the total amount that you play?
I guess freedom. It's hard to find 2-hour chunks.
Yeah,
to
exactly.
Pop totems.
Well, yeah. With that in mind, having like a Legion Mule gives you a bit more of the freedom, right? If you're like, okay, maybe there's an event coming up and I do want to make some more money, but I don't have 2-hour time slots. You could be like, okay, I'll do half an hour, do like 2 CRA bosses, and then another half hour, do 2 more later. And that does give you like 100 mil for that half hour, which is, you know, it's not the same rates as when you're training, but it's also not nothing for sure. But yeah, you don't want to free up like 15 CRA mules and then feel bad for not using them every week. That's also not a good feeling. So you gotta know for yourself. Like if you already have one and you're not really using it anyway, yeah, maybe there's not too much utility in adding a bunch of those.
Yeah, I was thinking maybe like 2 or 3 total. That's probably all like I'll actually have like motivation to push for.
Yeah, and maybe you don't do them all every week, but you know, whenever you do want to do them during a week, you'll have access to enough so that you can jump in there. So in general with Legion and stuff, so do you have any specific goal in mind, or you're just like slowly working your way up?
Just slowly working my way up. Just like seeing which Legion mules are like worth burning and like worth bonking. Work on those first. After that, I need to slowly train up some more. My Legion's pretty sad, honestly.
Well, yeah, it's going to be a little bit of everything is going to work together to get you to being able to one-shot with split shot, right? That's it's going to be the goal. Hopefully, if that happens as well, then maybe the desire to switch over to Pathfinder won't be as strong anymore. Because I think the main draw is the more solid mobbing, right?
It's like the more lazy mobbing. Because like
lazy,
I have an issue with like farming, but I don't know how that happened later. I don't know, like a split shot will cause issues later, or I'll just keep missing mobs later. That's why I just want to do Pathfinder, like, you know, just left, right, clear the entire map.
Yeah. Yeah, you can find a perfect map that fits the kit, and then just rinse and repeat, left, right, left, right. Yeah, when it comes to Legion in the beginning, because you still have 25 more characters whose levels will still count towards your Legion level. At this point, I usually advise people to just slowly, either like one a day or like one every 2 days or whatever works for you, just to make one new character that you don't have yet and just get it to level 60. And you could even leave it there for now, but you have 25 more characters to level 60 that will still, their levels will still count. And 25 times 60 is 1.5k, so that would get you to 4k Legion basically.
Alright, yeah. When you split it like that, that sounds a lot easier.
Yeah, because of course getting 60 levels on a character that's already 200 is quite a lot harder than on a new character that doesn't have anything yet. But those levels count just the same within your Legion, so 4k is already way bigger in the sense that your IED chunk is going to be way more valuable. The critical damage, you'll be able to move into critical rate and into boss damage more. And then you kind of completely evacuate the middle because the outside stats just give you higher final damage increase in total than the middle ones do.
Oh, from Archer specifically, is it good to go into a crit rate even if you have 100% just for vicious shot bonus?
Yeah, that's something that you specifically would have to calculate. But eventually, yeah. Just because your burst, especially with the Marksman now, with the what is it, a cartridge, right? Repeating cartridge or something. I don't know the exact name. Once your vicious shot is maxed, you get 50% of your crit rate into critical damage. And you probably will get your crit rate up to like, I don't know, like 170% or something. So that's like 85% crit damage just from vicious shot, which is going to be nuts. Yeah, if you just add 20 crit rate, that means that you're getting 10 crit damage for your full burst, which is a huge increase versus like, I don't know, like, what is it, 75 dex the whole game. Because your damage is disproportionately going to be during the burst, right? So if you can improve that more, that's going to disproportionately increase your total damage. Especially on bosses like Damien, where, you know, half the time he's just like hanging up there and you can't really hit him at all. So if you can make sure that during the burst you do way more, that's just so disproportionately effective versus a little bit more dex the whole time. Of course, for mobbing, it's the other, you know, you could do like a mobbing and a bossing setup, where for mobbing, you go more into the attack, into the dex, so your baseline damage is higher, so your split shot has better one-shot capability, because obviously you're not gonna like, I mean, people could now, right, in the new areas, they could do like vicious shot and split shot, so they can at least, so they can one-shot for a while, and then, you know, they can like use that as for mobbing, but in general, you don't really want to be using vicious shot like when you're mobbing. You want to throw some other skills in there, some other nodes maybe even, that will help you get your base damage up instead of your burst damage up.
You used to have to throw on like Epic Adventure for mobbing, and I just really wanted to get to the point where I didn't have to do that, because I just wanted to, like, you know, push split shot and that's it. I don't like have to buff up like we're trying to fight a boss just while farming.
Yeah. Yeah, and also vicious shot on low level is not super effective, right?
It's 27% right now.
No, still pretty good.
Yeah.
But so
Also,
when you say that you're not watching it with split shot, is that with? Do you use the other buffs with it or no?
No, just split shot on its own, but that only in like SSS. I think for other maps, it's fine.
Okay. Yeah. And do you switch the matrix around when you mob versus? Okay.
I just leave it as is. So for the same ideas like Legion, do you also put crit rate in your hyperstats? Because mine right now is like 0.
Yeah, I that's something I would do once you're like closer to 250 or trying to do the hard bosses and your vicious shot is actually leveled. Then I would start min-maxing with that and kind of do calculations. And it's probably best to just ask other archers to find like what is the sweet spot for critical rate that you guys use. Because I don't know exactly for archers where it's at, and it might be different for different types of archers. I think it's pretty similar for all the archers, but you know, explorers have access to a bit more crit because of the link skill that you can. You could you already have the link skill, right? So you stack it with yourself. Versus for other characters, putting in the link skill goes at the expense of another link skill. So you have to do the calculations there on what's more efficient for your slot of your active link skills, right?
Yeah.
So I think as explorer archers, you go a bit higher on the crit rate than most other archers. But there's probably some sweet spot where people say like, oh yeah, in burst you want to be at like, if you're over 180, then you're probably missing out on some other sources of damage or something. You know, I don't know what the number is exactly. Are you planning?
I need to be more like, I'm pretty like casual when it comes to it. Like I just hopped into like the Pathfinder and the Marksman Discord like 2 weeks ago, and I haven't really looked through all the information they have.
It's a pretty specific question to be like, how much crit do you really go for? I think once all of your stuff is at 10 and you're doing, so here's the general rule of thumb that I have, I guess, is if you're doing bosses where bursting is actually a thing, where you're like, okay, I have to, this boss gets bound, I have to use all my bossing skills, I have to use all my bursts, and I really burst hard, and I'm using everything, then at that point it's probably a good idea to start like throwing extra critical rate in to make sure that burst gets stronger, specifically if you start leveling your vicious shot. But with all the bosses before that, where it's more kind of like, you know, you use your skills, but it's just to kind of like chip away at the boss, it's not really any major bind and burst scenario, you're just, you know, you're killing it regardless, it's not really like a challenge whether or not you kill the boss, then I don't think it's as important yet.
Okay, so that starts like around Lucid, I guess, ish?
Yeah, I think, around Solo, Lotus Damien, and then moving into Party Lucid. It's probably like the area where the crit rate gets more important. Because for hyperstats as well, like you're maxing out almost your attack power and magic attack now. And like you're putting points in strength and dex and all of that. Like, it's probably, at that point, throwing it into critical rate will probably help you with your burst more, because that's probably still a thing, or yeah, that's like a thing you want to invest in more before you go over 10 on the other ones, because it's just so expensive.
Yeah. I was thinking, that's like, I'm like, I leveled up to 242, and like, since I take those pictures, I think.
Mm-hmm.
So I have like a couple of points, like wondering if I should just burn them into crit rate or just kind of save them up for the push to a level 11.
Yeah, level
Or I guess
11
it's
is, yeah. Well, we'll
Not
have to
worth
see.
it.
Yeah. Well, you have a bunch of, your ID is a bit lower now, right? Because of the, well, you're switching out one skill with the other one, so your ID is probably going to end up roughly at the same, I think is the goal.
I'm on my character right now. It says 85 with just the Neo Force buff,
Mm-hmm.
which is kind of low. I'm not sure how much ID Marksman needs because they have like the 50% innate with.
Yeah, we got some
I think
weird
the
stuff
rangefinder?
going on, yeah.
Yeah.
Depending on the distance and everything, yeah. Is it like
Uh,
plus 30% and then an extra 20% bonus on that or something?
Yeah. I'm not sure how much IED I need because around the Marksman Discord they said like one line IED is enough,
Mm-hmm.
pretty much. So I don't really want to re-roll my emblem or my Marksman weapon or secondary. So I've just
Mhm.
kind of been like, well, sucks, but I don't want to invest more on those.
Yeah, then there's just some pressure on the other sources instead. It's probably until you have the superior set complete now, right?
For Golux, yeah, I finished that. I quit. So I started Reboot when it came out, pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
That's when Golux was like easier to like carry people in.
Quite a bit.
So I got the
easier,
full
yeah.
set before that, before the changes made it a pain in the
Ah, I
ass
see,
too.
I see. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can kind of tell by your level and how many rings, like Golix rings you have. Usually you wouldn't have like that ring set up at this
Yeah.
level if you started later, yeah. Okay, well, just to finish up with links and Legion and everything, do you have a... Yeah, so that would be my advice, I guess, is just to slowly make a whole Legion of 60s just to build out, and then you'll have more grid availability, and then you can start moving around and then seeing which characters, need to be pushed to 200. But then slowly pushing characters to 140 will be a good idea, and then you can slowly work your way to 6k. It's all about just doing a little bit every day, so you can keep seeing progress. And then once you pass 6k, then it's really, you have to make the active effort to be like, okay, I'm actually going to push for 8, or I'm just going to stay on 6. And it's fine to stay on 6 for quite a while, but eventually 8k is worth it, I think, but that's like a huge decision because you have to like go into every character, fund it, get equips on it, upgrade them. There's quite a lot of work that goes into pushing from 6 to 8. You can kind of, scum your way there with bonking pots and that kind of stuff. Yeah. But that's a pretty slow process, and it's very, very event dependent. So if you're not comfortable with just waiting until the event basically allows you to make progress, then I think sitting on 6k for a while is just fine.
Yeah. I'm into like the recent bonking event with Maple Hotel. My Legion was like around less than 2k. It was like 1 point something.
Mm-hmm.
And I just got a bunch of free like level 200s because of that.
Yeah, you definitely want to take advantage. But the thing is also like if you went really hard with the bonking, it's also possible at a certain point that you just like run out of characters that you can bonk if your Legion isn't big enough. So it's good to once you move a few characters from one stage into the next one, that you keep making new characters for the lower stages, so that you keep filling, so you have input for the throughput for the system, so that you can benefit every time there's an event like that.
I had to panic make my mechanic because I realized I was running out of characters to bonk.
Mm-hmm.
That one I raised in like 3 or 4 days to get in the level range for bonking.
Nice. You have the Beast Tamer. Any desire to get the Beast Tamer level 3 link?
It's level 200, and I started the level on the 5th job advancement quest.
Mm-hmm.
And I know a Beast Tamer level 3 link is really useful, but
Yep.
it's a little bit weird to play.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, that's definitely true. Yeah.
So I was like messing around Temple of Time, and I couldn't even one-shot like the green monks, the first green monks you encounter.
Mm-hmm.
So it's pretty weak.
Yep. Yeah. One-shotting is not really a term you use. You kind of just hold skills down and push skills and hope. Have you figured out like with the bird form and everything how that works?
So people said like bird form's better funded, and then leopard's better just trying to do a lynx mule. So I I put like the minimal amount of bird. I have like the like to fly and like the bird bombing thing.
Yeah.
But then my leopard is like mostly maxed.
I see. Yeah. You would have to redo the skill distribution for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, I did that twice during Maple Hotel because I realized I might have fucked it up. Like putting too many points into some bear form. Like, oh shit.
Oh right.
One.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because there's the opportunity cost every time. Because if you go too far on one, that means that the other one is underrepresented, and then, well, it's mainly if you're trying to boss that your hyper skill goes hard, right? Hyper skill kind of activates all the passives on all the forms at the same time for a while.
Yeah, like I know like some mains put a bunch of the cat stuff, and then they pop in they get some cat buffs and some bird buffs and whatnot.
Yeah, it's crazy because there's like one leopard buff that gives you 60% IED, but you don't even need that if you have all the other ones. There's some crazy bird and bear buffs that, if combined, they can bring you up to like a 98% visual IED during your burst or something without any lines. It's kind of gross. You know, just good stuff. But yeah, that's the link that I'm looking at because it's crit rate and critical damage, right? If you're comparing that to something like the Kana link, which gives you 10% damage, which is nice, but then the Beast Tamer gives you 10% crit rate, which is essentially 5% critical damage for you during burst, plus once Fisher Shot is maxed, plus 10% boss damage, which is the same as 10% damage when you're bossing, then that's a way better link skill than the Kana, right?
Yeah.
So that's how I'm looking at that. But yeah, that could be something to do after you reach 6k, because then your Legion will be so big that you will be able to fund, quote unquote, your characters by just having your Legion specifically set to the character.
Yeah. So at the moment, I've been trying to get gold carries from my mule. So right now my Mercedes has 2-piece set cracked and 1 reinforced belt. I was just planning to like get like like a full accessory set kind of minus the rings, because rings are kind of hard to get low level. And just like get that for all my level 200 mule before I start pushing for 210.
Yeah, it could be something you do for sure. Yeah, for some characters, the 5th job is just accessing 5th job and the skill nodes is just enough to get a power boost to get to 210. The main thing I did on my characters was just 200 to 205 at Fez 2, and then go into Reverse City, because they have very low arcane power requirements as well, and just kind of bypass Vanishing Journey itself. If your characters are more funded, then just training in Vanishing Journey on the lanterns is still faster quite a bit than Fez 2. But Fez 2 is just, it's easier to get to, and you don't have the whole barrier to entry, and then you can kind of skip the whole going through the storyline in Vanishing Journey. And Reverse City has very low requirements, and very good maps with a lot of experience, high burn. Nobody really goes there, so.
Yeah, I'll just plan to leave them at Fez till 210, but it's probably better to go to Reverse City.
What do you want to do in Reverse City? Sorry?
I was planning to leave them at Fez up until 210, pretty much.
You can do that, but those last 5 levels from 205 to 210 get really slow.
Yeah. Oh, what's your opinion about the bonking potion? Not the bonking potion, but like the XP potions. Because I know like the 249 one costs like 40k points.
Yeah.
But then like the 210 one only costs like 5k. I was wondering if you what's like the value between those two, like versus like using it on your meal or something.
Yeah, those values are just determined by how much experience you need to level at that, and because of the exponential level curve, that's just kind of how they kind of look at like how many hours of experience is this potion worth, and then they kind of put the same amount of hours in. So, yeah, depending on where you're gonna need them or where you can use them, that's kind of how I look at the potions to see like how many hours worth of grinding is this potion worth to me, and then that's how I compare them typically. You're looking at the. Because you were looking at the cost of the potions.
Yeah, it's like 40k versus like 5k. Like it's still probably better to use on the main, because I think it definitely takes more than like 8 hours for a level. Or actually about 8 hours now with the XP changes for me.
Yeah, it's quite a lot of. Well, the other thing is like how high are you even going to get, because it's. I forgot to do it yesterday. I just remembered. Is like because it's pretty hard to get a lot of points there as well, right?
Yeah, I can only get like 1,010, but just Magnus is so hard with like the level difference.
Yeah, exactly. So that's going to be more of the question too, is how far can you even get? But I think that's unlimited how many you can buy, right?
Yeah, I don't think there's any limit.
You're just hardcore. Sorry?
Are the potions tradable, or are they account bound or character bound?
I thought they were Neo Crystal Challenge.
Because if they're character bound, doesn't even matter. Because I don't want to do this on my meals.
Yeah, no, it's tradable with an account, it says.
Okay, yeah. Okay, someone in chat said I can probably get some extra potions as well, along with the big potion. I could probably throw down like a Mercedes mule, because I really don't want to play Mercedes.
Yeah, I like Mercedes' fifth job quite a bit compared to everything before, which is, not hard, because Mercedes up to 200 is kind of yikes. I thought the fifth job was kind of enjoyable, but yeah, not exactly my thing, but yeah, it's just one of those things you want to power through. I think, you do have them at 200, so it feels like they're so close to 210 already. I think it's fine to have, like, if you want to get the 6k Legion, just make a whole group of 140s instead. But now because of the bonking and you get to 200, it feels like you should be pushing to 200. Just make sure for yourself that you're not letting the game decide what you need to be doing and where you need to be spending your time if it's not something you genuinely want to do,
Yeah, like playing meals is kind of enjoyable at some point. It's just like when you get new skills, it's like, oh, new toy to play with,
Yeah, uh-huh.
But with the new 5, 10, 15 coming out, I was like, oh shit, I need to grind more mesos because if you look at my gear, I have like 4 17 stars, and everything else is 16 star.
Yeah.
So I need to push those higher.
Yeah, I saw a bunch of 16s, yeah. Yeah, that'll also make a big difference in your baseline damage for sure.
Oh, for the Kane coming out with like the debuff link skill, I was wondering if it's still worth doing like the level 3 Thief League skill with the new Kane link skill kind of taking its place.
Yeah. Wait, you said debuff. You mean buff, right? Or
Kane's puts marks on the mob, right? Or is it yourself? And then I wonder if that counts for like the mage link skill.
I think you charge stacks for yourself, and then based on if you have enough stacks, then it activates, I think, when the cooldown is over. Is how I read it. But the description right now is horrible. At least I sent a message to make sure that the description was hopefully changed from the test server, because the test server description of the link skill was horrible. Made it very difficult to understand what it actually did. But in essence, it does the same thing as the thief link skill. It's just the thing that with the main reason people like the thief link skill is because it activates twice as often, and if you get server lag, then you can then sometimes that extends the duration of how long it lasts. And if you have it activating twice as long with basically the same standard for damage as the other one, then you have twice as many times the chance that it extends because of server lag, so then it still stays a little bit better. It's kind of the thing. But it depends on what your entire setup is. It's possible that you use both, or it's possible that you use just one of them, whichever makes more sense for you. You could be like, well, what if I have like a 20-second hard burst, and then it's more important. But then, like, it can randomly trigger right before your burst as well, and then be on cooldown, right? So it's kind of hard to really rely on it. I think most people will, if the one that you're using now as your 12th link skill is like the Hayato or something, or the Jet link skill, because you don't really have much else to put in there, then maybe you might switch it out. If your 12th link skill, quote unquote, is the Thief link skill, you could switch them, but I think it's going to be virtually the same effect, I'm thinking.
Okay. Yeah, I think I have room for like a mage link skill and then one between Kane and Thief before I just start like taking out some of the weaker ones like Kana.
Yeah, you don't have a specific bossing and mobbing setup probably, right? You just have a one with everything that you have right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, for bossing there's definitely a few specific ones that'll be very good additions. Like definitely the Explorer Mage and definitely the Kadena, the Arc, and the Demon Slayer ones will be very good.
Yeah, those are the ones I've been looking at after Hayato and I guess Arc, yeah.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, I mean, you're aware of the Lynx Legion command?
I don't think so.
You don't think so? Okay,
oh, no, like the spreadsheet. Oh, yeah, no.
Yeah, the spreadsheet, yeah. Basically, if you kind of follow this order, then you can't really go wrong. These are characters that will just help you a lot. And crit rate is in there early on to help those new characters get a lot of crit very quickly. And of course, because you also do in endgame and late in endgame scale very well with crit, and that'll just, for your account, will also be very helpful. So
I
as long
have,
as you're
like, most of the beginning ones.
yeah, I think you're decently following this. Make sure you make a. I don't know you have a 0, right? Sure. You
No. Yeah,
make
I'm
one of
waiting for
those
that
later
one to
this
open
summer.
up.
That's really good.
Yeah.
And yeah, no, in general that's going in the right direction, I think. But yeah, just I would say like just flood the board with with level 60s. Just there's an easy 4K there to pick up, and then you'll find your baseline for damage on all your characters go up quite a lot, and then pushing them from 60 to 100 will be very easy. And then you just roll Zakums until 140, and before you know it, you'll have 6k Legion.
All right. That sounds like a plan.
Well, I see familiars here. Is there anything that you're wondering about with familiars, or does that all make sense?
I'm probably just gonna grind a shit ton in Moonbridge. This is kind of sad. My best familiar is like the IED one, and I have
Mhm.
like the big spider from before and the
Yep.
guardian from before.
Yep.
I know I need to grind like some boss damage ones or a 30% IED mob in Moonbridge whenever I get the chance.
Yeah, that's after 245, yeah. Do you have at least 2 slots available now?
Yeah, I have the level 2 or 2 slots for the thing, and I
Yep.
have like 6 badges. Oh, 5 badges, and I have like most of the time badges. So I'm working on that one next.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, time badge is a little bit yikes, of course, because of the 3 mini bosses, but
Yeah,
it is doable. And I think it gives some extra ID, right, when you equip it?
It's 3%. So that's mostly looking at the most efficient ones,
Mm-hmm.
but all the efficient ones have shitty mini bosses. Like I was doing the Mugong, not the Mugong one, but I don't know what the region's called. I was like camping those bosses. And I just for like 2 hours, I got nothing out of it.
Mm.
A little demotivated after that.
Yeah, a few of them are, just not good. I made a little tier list thingy with the badges. See like which ones I think are easy to get. Did you get all of these in S tier?
S tier. Starters. Let me check. Let me go look. Yeah, starter. Snowflake. Double. I'm missing line badge.
Mhm.
But I have everything else.
For the line badge, they did add extra monsters to the maps, so that one shouldn't be as bad as it was back when this was even advised. So
Yeah, I'm only missing 3 of them because I did LHC on my Adele when I was training her.
mm-hmm.
No, just a little bit more progress on
Yep.
that.
And the void one will be basically free once you get to the area.
That's gonna be a while.
Yeah.
285. Yeah. I have like the 249 potions still left over from the compensation.
Oh yeah.
I'll get one more from the event.
Yep.
So I just need to go more on my level.
Easy clap. Almost.
Yeah, it still feels bad not being like max efficiency is 248 to 250, but
Yeah, I know.
Just-
Well,
just see
being
how
able
much
to
it's-
enter the new area faster, if you're able to kill there properly and get way better rates, then
yeah.
yeah.
I was thinking like around 245 when I start getting familiars, I'd probably hop into my Kana more and get her to like be an actual meso farmer before continuing on the main.
Hmm. Yeah, the thing with making your kind of meso farmer though is she's gonna level very quickly as well, and have to go into
Yeah.
those new areas, and then the kill speed is gonna. You have to do a lot of dailies there as well to build up the arcane power.
Yeah. She's like decently strong for her level, I think, like 215. But it
Mhm.
has like full up, so but I'm trying to get her like overpowered before I hop into Lachulin. Just so I don't like level up too fast and then miss out on like some meso farming
Mhm.
without getting max efficiency, I guess, yeah. Oh, also, this is probably like a later topic, but for my Absol gear, it's all like unique potential. I know like eventually you swap it out for arcane gear. I was wondering at what point, like, do I start for it at past 17 star? Do I leave it at like 17 star and just go on arcane, like get to legendary potential?
Yeah, we'll get it. I'll make sure to address that when we get to the equips.
Okay.
Make sure that you have an answer for that. Yeah, because I think, even though we have the passive ID and everything, you'll get that once you have the familiars soon. And if you're working more on Legion, you'll get a little bit of familiars there as well that you can just reveal in your main. But having 15% IEDs is probably still a good idea if you're
I've been
base
hunting
ID.
for another 15 one, but I haven't found one yet.
Yeah, they just kind of have to come to you. Like if you work more on Legion and you just kill more monsters, just all the familiar cards. Just make a habit of all the familiar cards that you make. You just throw them all into storage and just open them all up on this one.
Yeah,
And
that's
then-
what I've been doing with my recent meals.
Mm-hmm. Okay, that's good. Yeah, but otherwise you're just waiting until Moonbridge, so you have to fuse them together. So you have to get enough of the same ones. Otherwise, it's not even possible for you to get epics and uniques. So until then, you're just kind of. This is like a great setup. I would say like the only thing missing would be another ID familiar, but other than that, it's like a great setup, I think. Especially since you don't have that. You do have the 30% from the superior bonus, which most people don't have, but you don't have a line of ID on your WSC, so it would counterbalance that and not needing that, you know.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. When it comes to the matrix, you're mainly saving up nodes now, right?
Yeah. Sitting on 200-ish.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that Vicious Shot will just stay saved and that you can equip it on the Pathfinder the same one. I assume you don't have to make a new one because it's a shared archer skill. But, of course, your boost node work for the Pathfinder is going to be more important. Plus, Pathfinder, I think, works on 6 boost nodes instead of 2, so...
Yeah.
That's
They
gonna
have
be-
5 skills that need to be boosted, I think.
Well, if you're mainly going to be try to use it for mobbing, then you essentially have the same setup as with this one, where you have a setup of 3 skills that's mostly useful in mobbing and bossing. That's your core trio. But yeah, aside from that, there's like an extra trio that's helpful for mobbing and an extra trio that's helpful for bossing extra. And then you typically
Okay.
use 4 boost nodes at a time, and then you switch out the second and the third trio depending on what you're doing, and then the first trio stays locked in.
Okay. Damn, that's a lot of notes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, especially if, like my mom, you accidentally extract a few of your level 25s and you have to make them again.
Ugh.
That was not a good
At
time.
least there's a lock. At least you can lock it now.
Yeah, at least there's a locking feature now, many years later. Why that didn't exist in the beginning is a mystery, but, you know. Yeah, I assume that the decent skills and the vicious shot stay, and that you can just switch them over. I assume. Because I'm thinking... Yeah, I never really used rope lift on the Marksman, but I guess there's a lot of situations where it's actually pretty useful. I just never really used it myself.
It's a lot cleaner than using up jump, in my opinion. Like, especially if like Helix, you
Mhm.
know, like the safe spot on the platform.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's really easy to get to that safe spot with the rope lift. And then
Yeah.
for, like my rotations and MTS, it just makes it a lot smoother.
Yeah, because I felt like when I think I did MTS2 a little bit as well with the Marksman, I felt like it was always a little bit late to get to the platform. Like, would always lose a rotation. Like, every 4 rotations or something, I wouldn't be able to get there in time. Or maybe it was MTS4. I don't know. It's like you have like 2 platforms, one just above the ground and then one way higher in the middle, right? And you aim right, left, right, left.
Yeah.
Yeah, I felt like it was a little bit too slow. Maybe rope lift does make you faster up there, though. I don't know. You have like a startup speed, right? I just know with Golix, with my luck, I would just get slapped during the startup speed of the rope lift and still get grabbed as if I was down there.
Yeah. I still hate that boss, but ever since I've been able to solo him, it's been...
Well, yeah, especially if you were able to kill it back in the day and then you come back now and it's like, what happened?
Yeah, no, I got my friend to come back into it, and he was like, oh, I can carry your Helix if you need them. I was like, you sure about that?
Yeah, you're like, "You sure? No, I was like, I don't need help. And then you go like, well, maybe I do need that help after all. Yeah, a little bit different. Yeah, well, so for Matrix, I mean, yeah, check the nodes that you need as a Pathfinder, I guess. But other than that, we're just hold.
Yeah.
But yeah, the ability to get some extra nodes from your burns could be value there. I guess we talked about that.
Yeah.
Other than that, oh yeah, let me check how many backups you have on everything so we can look and make sure that we take that into consideration.
I have a little bit less Damien cores because I spent 5 of them on getting the Absolab Ancient Bow.
Right. That's fine. You still have 9, right? So it's not like you need to make anything else at this point.
Yeah. Unless I boom it.
Well, you were gonna transfer hammer, right? So hopefully there's no chance to
Yeah.
blow it up. You keeping your spirit eggs?
Yeah, I thought the buff would work, but every time I tried it, it's just no quest, no nothing. So I think
No.
I can up them. I don't think they do anything for reboot.
No, I was trying to see if you were going to go to 69 and then just hold on to 69 eggs or something.
I'm at 72 right now, so
Oh yeah, you already
past
passed
that
it.
benchmark,
Yeah, rip. Start over.
dumped a lot.
Coins. Oh, you're holding on to Spirit Savior coins on purpose, or is it just save money for now?
Lazy.
Lazy.
I just spam NPC chat on the mob and hop over the latch.
Yeah.
Do my dailies.
Yeah, I think I have that. Yeah, for Spirit Savior, I had that a few times where I click and it's like, oh, you can pick up 20, 30, 40, 50. And like, oh, whoops. I guess I didn't click a few days. It's worse.
Actually a big number.
Yeah. Well, yeah, you don't want it to slow you down, of course, like, because it's a bunch of main stat, right? It's just kind of sitting there, but you have to pay for it, of course. But yeah, it's worse when you click when you try to pick up the symbols for Dream Defender and you get 1 plus 1/3 of how much you usually get, and you're like, ah, fuck, I forgot to finish click on a day. That's always a bad feeling.
Yeah, because like I checked the Spiegelman
Mm-hmm.
to see if I finished my dailies. And
Right,
it
yeah.
marks Dream Defender if you finished it once, and not if you get it all 3 times.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So that's a false sense of security there as well.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh yeah, what are your symbol levels at?
13. Just go in order. 13, 17, 13, 14, 14, 14.
Okay, it's 14. That's right. Yeah.
I popped the. We got some compensation for. I don't know the symbols. I got my Esfara to 14 with some symbol
Mhm.
bundle. I forgot what it was. It was like 50 symbols.
Oh, that's probably from the hotel shop. I think had 50.
I don't think it was like the
Oh, no,
VIP. I definitely used on something else.
No,
I don't know what
There
else.
was yeah. It was part of the pink boxes that we got.
Oh, yeah, that.
That one
so
had
I think it was on
15.
Esfara.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did that as well on my my Adele. Yeah, I mean, yeah. It's pretty clear, right? Because it's already caught up to Arcana. Are you good with Spirit Savior and with
Yeah,
the dailies
like
there?
10k every run.
Yeah.
Or 10k first run, and then Dream Defender. I'm stuck on floor 70. That's one I can do like pretty easily.
Mm-hmm.
And then past that, it's just
Yeah,
I can't cleanly kill the music boxes.
Yeah, it's a bit harder for Marksman because of the split shot downtime. It's such a huge hole of time where you just can't really hit properly, right?
Yeah, it's like 1 floor and a half. It's like okay, and then I have to rely on like bird and like all my other buffs.
Yeah.
Try to kill everything with.
You do
like,
know that
Chasing
if you go to a new platform, you can just use snipe, and the first target you hit is always going to be the music box. Do you know that?
new platform.
So if you go to a new floor, and it like
Mhm.
resets, then if you use snipe, it's always going to hit the music box is always spawned before the birds. So in every stage, so you can just snipe the music boxes away, like really quickly. That can help you to speed up through the platform, through the floors.
So like when the floor first starts, like like the mobs don't spawn yet. Is what you're talking about?
Yeah. So let's say you're able to clear like 70 and then struggle through 71, right? And then your split shot is finished.
Mm-hmm.
So if it resets to 72, what you can do is just use snipe to hit the box itself, and then when it's dead, move on to the next one, and then kind of kill the monsters as you're moving past the middle, like throw out a high-speed shot or something to get rid of him. But the other thing is to use the bell, right? To use the bell to scum the floors if you have enough. But you just have to save that up enough to. You basically have to try to cap on that first before you can move to the next decimal floor.
Yeah, that's what I did for 60 to 70. Just bell whenever it was like no split shot. Make it a little bit easier for me.
Yeah, that's just a rough one for Marksman. I don't think my Marksman. I think I eventually got to 90 or something, but I think I was stuck on 70 or 80 for a long time. Because you just don't have anything to really fill that gap. Yeah, you have the bird and high speed shot, and it's Surge Bolt. Like, that's not great. I guess now you can. Yeah, you can even alternate with the other skill. Well, so you could do that, right? You could alternate with the cartridges, because that will focus on the box first.
Yeah. So right now, what I've been doing is split shot and cartridge, because I do like 3 to 4 piercing arrows, and then cartridge to clear out the platform. I guess once I can like two-shot it, then I can just probably use only split shot and use cartridge for the no split shot time.
Yeah. Even though that's gone really quickly too. If you throw a bunch of
Yeah.
those cartridges can be gone in like 5 seconds.
Yep.
Well, we get one extra, right? After after Neo. Rejoice.
Oh, do we?
Yeah, I think we get one extra cartridge. And maybe a little bit of extra damage on it as well. I don't remember exactly.
Okay. More buffs are always nice.
Yeah. Well, then the extra rank of attack speed will be a lot nicer once we get that one.
Oh yeah, 3+1.
Only if you switch back to Marksman by then, though.
Yeah, I'll leave the option open.
Yeah, exactly. If there's a
Also,
job advance, the job change coin, right?
yeah. Is it worth changing my inability to boss damage? 'Cause I know that's best in stock for Pathfinder, but also my attack speed's really hard to give up just because it took so long to get it in the first place.
Yeah, and I don't think you have anywhere near the honor experience to start like throwing around your invulnerability. I don't think. I would hold on to this for now.
I burned it during the last event. I got nothing. No crit damage, no boss damage. I got like 9% meso, which is an epic line. And I'm trying to go for like more than that.
Yeah, that's tricky. Like if you roll 20% meso in the top line or something, you could make a strong argument for that because that will always just help you progress faster by just making more money all the time. But especially for bossing, the attack speed extra for Marksman is very, very useful. And if you don't even know for sure that you're going to switch to Pathfinder and you might switch... I mean, you know that you're going to switch, but you're not sure that you're going to stay and you might switch back and everything. Invulnerability is pretty tricky to reroll. And because of the low amount of honor experience you have now, I would just hold at least until the next change comes from KMS. That'll make re-rolling cheaper and will avoid you from being from having to lock, and you won't be able to go down anymore when you roll. So that'll make rolling invulnerability a lot more reliable, and then I think it's better to come up with a plan then, and then you'll also have more honor experience to make that decision for yourself.
Yeah, I was in the middle of rolling and I remember the KMS change and I was like, well shit, well I'm already halfway through. I'll just go all the way.
Yeah, there was a event recently, right? And then there's another one
Yeah.
coming soon, so it's probably going to be a lot of people rolling, and then in like a few months people are going to be like, oh shit, I wish I had saved everything.
Yeah.
Unless they got lucky, and then they'll be like, oh, it was the best decision, you know, because apparently it's a good decision if you get lucky and a bad decision if you get unlucky, even though...
Just get lucky, you know?
Yeah, just roll what you want, forehead. Okay. Is there anything non-equip related that we have not gone through yet? Let's see the backups. Yeah, so you didn't buy the droplets from the hotel?
I figured I'm too far from getting arcane where it would matter, and then I know like there's a bunch of droplets coming up in KMS events.
Mm-hmm.
So I figure if I need droplets, then I'll just grab them then. Because right now I haven't even bought the droplets from the current event either. If I ever need the droplets, like by the time I need droplets, I'd probably be able to buy them whenever I need to. Was what I was thinking.
Yeah, because you need to get to the point where you can reliably be part of Lucid and Will runs first and quickly rather than later, because you'll need months to build up the items that you need to turn the coins even into the arcane gear. So yeah, we see 800 droplets coming in our winter event most likely. So I think the advice now is going to be to invest in yourself now, get yourself stronger, get yourself to Lucid and Will, get yourself to 250, you know, so you don't get as much damage reduction on Will, and start getting those clears in so that by the time the event comes around, you've got the whole, you got all the pieces ready, and then all you need to do is just double click droplets, make arcane, and boom, start force it up to 17 kind of thing.
Yeah, that was the plan.
Yeah. Which also means that we won't go too hard into the Abzo, which does mean that the pieces that are not Abzo we'll have to overcompensate with. So we'll get into that in, well, I guess right now. 'Cause I don't think there's anything, unless there's any questions you had that were not equip related yet that we haven't figured out yet.
I think everything's good. Like Legion, Link skills, I know I need like definitely work on those, get some level 60s in.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then you'll have access to all of the extra Link skills once you get them all to 70, which will be really close to 60, and then you can, you're aware of like stacking Link skills and everything? Yeah, because you have a level 3 Spirit of Freedom, I see, yeah.
I definitely need to get my Marksman Link skill, or that one, Venture one up. I need to make another Marksman.
Yeah, you're just going to make 2 Pathfinders and then just job switch those when all of that starts, or?
Yeah. Probably 2 Pathfinders. I might make a Bowmasters to try it out. Cause I did play that in the beginning. Like
Mhm.
I just drop changed a Bowmaster when I hit level 100 just to try it out. I would go back to it and see how I like it again.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, Pathfinder for the Marksman for
Okay.
sure.
Yeah, and just to specify, because like crit, that's all on lock. The other thing that's really important, of course, is well, there's a bunch of things that's really important, right? Nodes, but we talked about that. Arcane symbols, we talked about that. Crit rate, we talked about that. IED, we didn't really get really deep into it. Are you like, familiar with IED and the calculations and everything?
Yeah, more efficient with big numbers.
Mm-hmm.
I just, yeah, like I said, I need like 1 line of IED, I think, was what recommending from the Marksman Discord.
Mhm.
But Pathfinder, I probably need 2 lines, I'm guessing.
Yeah, I think the 1 line is specifically advice. For most classes, you can get rid of the line as long as you have the Superior Golic set and as long as your Legion is big enough to give like a decent chunk there. So since
Okay,
you
so
already
that's
have the
good.
Superior, and then if you have the get the get the extra link skills that will give you, and you get the extra familiar, then I think you have enough IED to hold you over until the Legion fills out, the Legion board itself, and then the Legion board itself filling out, I think will fill the gap, because we do have a decent amount of IED in our kit as a marksman.
Okay. So I can probably hold out until that point then.
Yeah, I think so, because your potentials are like pretty decent. Like you would have to reroll the weapon essentially, right, with your current setup,
Yeah.
and that's not desirable to get ID on the weapon anyway, because you'll have to roll out of that. So, yeah.
I tried rolling the emblem, but it's 2 line plus like a decent 3rd line. It's hard to find something better than that.
Exactly. Yeah, it is something functional on the 3rd line, which is already better than what the weapon does. Yeah, so.
Mm-hmm.
So I would not roll that. Cool. Yeah. So the next step. So I guess we're getting to the equip. So the first step is definitely like WSE, right? I would say that's in a. It's even in WSE order. Nice. That is. Those are like in a good situation for your level, I would say. I guess for my marksman, I probably had a worse secondary, and a slightly worse emblem as well. Of course, all of the extra links in Legion do help me there. For the weapon, I think I was using Fafnir with 17 stars. Yeah, and then with like 2 lines of attack, I think. Which is probably a little bit higher in damage than this, but not much because of the base stat difference. Yeah, then when I decided to invest into it, I kind of did the same that you did, where I took like 150 weapons and got it up to 21 stars and then transferred it into 20 Abzo when I switched to Abzo. But
Yeah,
I got
I probably
completely to
should've gone
250
higher.
without.
I watched your Starfighting video from Marksman like
Yeah.
2 days ago. I was just, just
Casually.
looking. Yeah. I saw like you got like 21 stars on a bunch of equips. I was wondering if I should like push that. I should have pushed it further before transferring it over.
Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty misleading. It makes it look so easy. I've also had another event after that where I spent 80 bill and got absolutely nothing and didn't see anything go past 19, so
Oh.
it's a momentary lapse of like, that happened that time, but that's not a guarantee whatsoever. But you have to upload those things and highlight those because people want to see the success stories, right?
Yeah.
But
I'll
it could
find it off
definitely be
the
misleading where you're like, oh, it's that easy? I could do that. Like, no.
I definitely don't have the mesos to push for 21 stars at the moment. I'm only
Yeah.
like around 5.5 bill.
Yeah, we want to see what the short-term steps are and then the mid-term and the long-term steps for you so that you can make more guaranteed upgrades rather than Hail Marys and then, Because there's going to be that one guy who's like, oh, I got it to 22, and then he has everything else 17, and if he just got everything to 19 instead, he probably saved money and probably would have been way stronger anyway. So, it can depend on what you want, but there are definitely more efficient and less efficient ways of upgrading. So yeah, the next thing after WSE would be the accessories, right? Which you have already started dipping into to make sure that you can get extra meso and drop rate running so that you can make it more effective when you're training.
Mm-hmm.
And you
So for the Black Gate ring, I was wondering if I should leave that, like, should I make that into a meso gear, item gear, or should I just like drop it for an event ring? Because this is like, I know it's like limited to 15 stars, and it's like not the greatest.
Yeah, you don't want to star things to 15 if they only get to 15 anyway. That's kind of a waste of money.
Yeah. I was like,
yeah.
how much better is like the event ring compared to like the Black Gate ring?
Event rings are 40 stat and 25 weapon and magic attack, so it's essentially a 20 attack increase.
Okay, so probably worth them to drop it.
It's quite a bit. I mean, this one is your damage ring now.
It's with my
I mean-
solid Golux ring got put into an item. We got really good potential for item drop, so I had to get a second one. So
Mhm.
yeah, for now the Black Gate ring's my best damage ring, or one of the 4.
Wait, you got another solid ring as well?
I need to get another solid ring. I have the coins for it. I just need to
Well, you don't
build it up.
have to get another one. Well, there's options now, right? Because you can get backups for kind of treasure.
Yeah.
You have the superior. You can get extra reinforced, and you can make Meister rings. Like those are 4 rings, so you don't necessarily have to get extra solid ring.
Okay.
Like
I
that's
like
something you
the-
could do later, but I think it's more important to make sure that you save your coins in case you just want to go harder on the reinforced instead, for example.
Okay. I know like there's like that ring roulette idea where you have like a Kana, Meister, and a solid. And you just kind of like start force those up, and whenever which one booms first. and you
Yeah,
use
that
other
was
two.
mostly. Well, yeah. So that was kind of the idea when you couldn't rebuy the reinforced, and you couldn't get any extra Kana treasures. But in the meantime, that has changed to that you have backups. So you technically still kind of roulette, but you have backups now, so it's not as risky. It's not like the action Russian roulette that it was before, but it's more like the spin the bottle roulette kind of thing. With, of course, you want to make sure that you have ample opportunity to get extra Kana treasures. And then the thing is also, if you get your Kana treasure high enough where you're like, okay, this is a reasonable amount, like I'm not going to go beyond this anyway, you can use the Kana treasure as well to transfer hammer into the superior and maybe not have to deal with that part of Meister at all because, you have the limited resources. I think you have like, how many promos did you have? Like 4 or 7? What did I see?
I have I had enough to make
4,
I'm
yeah.
mostly limited by the grand spell essences. I
Mhm.
can't get enough of those. I made another Meister in between this
Yep.
and the turn now.
Okay, so you have like a backup Meister, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the thing is if you can get enough Kana treasures, that will... Because that takes the pressure also off of this character, and then you can use the primals for another character, because that's like a shareable resource, right? But
Mhm.
the kind of treasure itself on the character is locked to the character, so that gives you extra account value as well. If you get those backups. But I think right now what is your damage setup right now? You use the solid,
it's the
superior...
Reinforced solid superior Black Gate ring, and then
Or those first 4, right?
Chaos ring. Yeah, and Chaos ring.
Oh, okay. Chaos Ring is better than the...
I think
Then-
it...
then
oh
the
no,
solid?
I tossed out solid. Solid is tossed out for Black Gate.
And the... Oh, yeah, and the Reinforce is better because of the Star Force?
Yeah, because it's 16 star.
It's like only like 100 more better
Yeah,
than
okay.
solid, I think.
Yes, it's really close. Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I would just keep Blackhead Ring as your damage ring for now until it really gets completely replaced. The thing is just with the rings, I want to... I'm hesitant to have you be like, oh yeah, get another solid. Because you already have 3, 4, 5, 6... Yeah, right? You already have 8... You already have 7 legendary rings, and you're going to add... Or, like, the kind of treasure's really close, and eventually that one's going to get the legendary as well, so that's going to be 7. You don't want to have, like, 12 legendary rings in your inventory at a certain point, because that's, like, a lot of money that could be spent more efficiently. Because I think the first thing to build on is, like, a set of drop/meso gear, where you have, like, 5 lines of meso, 4 lines of drop. And then that in combination, and that comes from the other accessories, the eye, the face, the earring, the pendants. And then that combination will allow you to just grind. And then if a ring ends up rolling a bunch of damage, or you get a ring, you start star forcing, and then you convert them, into the other source, you stick with a total of max 8 rings. I wouldn't go higher than that. And then late, if you want to be like, okay, I ended up with a bunch of meso obtained on the rings, but I also want to have a setup where I have fully just decked out drop for the final parts of a boss, for example, to really maximize how much, how many drops I can get from the boss. Then you can go back to like rings and redo them, or get like extra rings. But that's way further down the line, so I wouldn't start spreading my money too thin over too many items too early.
Okay, yeah. Got it. I probably need to work on my face accessories and earrings more.
Mm-hmm. Well, right now you have 5 rings that have a line of utility on it, right?
Are you cleaning the meso ones?
Yeah, so you have 4 meso and 1 drop rate ring, right?
Yeah.
So you can't even wear all of those at once. So one of those rings can kind of already be re-rolled right now.
Yeah, I usually only use a solid when I'm like killing Helix or something.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know that's more of a personal thing for me. Is I don't want equips that only fill like one specific role and then have a bunch of those, because I'll forget to switch and then feel really bad afterwards that I didn't optimize and that kind of stuff. Or then you forget to switch back and then you know, it goes both ways kind of thing. You can forget to wear it, or you can wear it accidentally and then double dip that way. Because would it be the reinforced? Because I'm thinking, because you have the set bonus there. Honestly, I think it could be like a good idea to just reroll the superior right now and just go for more dex on that one specifically.
Okay.
Right.
And then try to find 20% somewhere else.
Yeah, so you're relying. So when you're training, you go for full 4 meso-obtain ones.
I have, yeah, so 4 Meso-obtain rings and then my Meso-obtain pendant.
Yeah, so then you would go to 80% meso, is what you're saying, right?
100 with the pendant. It's
Yeah,
the
yeah.
dominator.
Well, if you were to roll the superior ring, I mean.
Oh, yeah, 80%.
Mm-hmm. And oh, you have double drop on the greed. I see that. Yeah. Very greedy pendant indeed. And Allstat even gives a little bit of damage. Nice.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I just
it's
need-
pretty good potential, but it's a greed pendant.
Yeah. I mean, it is what it is. The damage of your Oh yeah, that is a nice flame on the dominator. The damage on the greed pendant shouldn't be the deciding factor whether or not you kill things or not. So it's, it's all the other final damage sources coming together, right? Yeah. So your goal was to work on the reinforced when the dominator goes away. Yeah, that makes sense. To split that up. So I guess right now the main thing you're missing is the lines on eye and face, right?
Yeah. I have 2 boss items for eye and face. As next picture down. I was wondering if I should make those into like. Is it better to use boss items for like drop in Mesa, or is it better to like use sweet water?
It depends on the stage of the game you're in. These do have nice flames. Like the condensed power crystal is 30 and 6, so it'll probably be better than a face extender. Here's the upside and the downside. So the upside is if you have good flame stats on it and you have the set bonus coming into play as well, it just makes it so much simpler, and you actually don't lose strength, or maybe even get a bit stronger if you're comparing it to even to like a 17-star Sweetwater Iron Face. It can still even be a bit better because you can still get the Deocidus to 17 as well, right? And it has a really nice flame, and you can use those 3 for drop/meso. The problem is you get into legendary and you roll 30% dex on it. Now what do you do? You get absolutely boned, right? So when it comes to the earrings, I would say you can definitely work on these earrings and get drop/meso earrings, and then make sure that you can totally re-roll the superior earrings to dex. Yeah, those are epic now. I mean, those are epic now, so you could re-roll these to like hybrid for now to see if you can get a line of meso or drop on them, and plus 9% dex, and then you basically get the same amount of dex as now, but you do get an extra line there.
Yeah, I usually just stop at like whether I get like item or meso or like 2 lines of dex.
The other option is you go for the Deocidus, you get that 1 to 17, you get a legendary, one of those lines, and then you use it when you're mobbing, and then you switch to superior when you're bossing. But you save all the money and save all your reinforced from Gollux, and then you transfer high Star Force reinforced into the superior Gollux once you get to that point.
Okay. I was thinking of using the 3-set superior, 3-set reinforced for meso farming, because that gives you like the attack and the all stat, which is, and then you moose on the IAD and boss, which is really needed when you're farming.
That is an option in your situation because you have the setup that you do. The problem with that is though that will keep your superior ring as a drop or meso item.
Yeah, I was thinking like so I eventually need to cube the reinforced and superior back to like dex. I was thinking like two meso rings, and then like the eye face and the earring, which should get me to like 100 meso. And I have like the big spider for drop for meso. So that.
But what I'm saying is if you go for 3/3 because it's like better because of the double dip into the attack set, but then you're kind of forcing your reinforced and your superior to either stay drop, or you're forcing yourself to buy 2 of those, right? Because you want their function to be damaged, but you can't also lock in your function of your set bonus to be that you need them for drop set. Because then it's conflicting. Does that make sense?
So the superior ring and the reinforced ring would both be full damage, and then I would have like a reinforced pendant, which would be meso, or reinforced earring, which would be meso, and then have like 2 spare rings, which would be like meso probably, and then have like the iron face to get 1 more meso drop.
Yeah, so the meso would be fine and the drop rate would be fine because of the thing. But the thing is that you want your drop to be as high as possible because you'll get more nodes, more droplets, and all that kind of stuff.
Okay. Okay.
So you don't want to sacrifice those 2 slots. Yeah. If you need the damage to be able to kill in like a higher level area because you're going to Cernium and you can make the set bonus work and you need the extra damage and you use the damage rings like that, that would be a good setup. But in the earlier areas when you need the nodes, you need the income, you need the droplets, all of that stuff, then it's going to end up holding you back because the rings are eventually going to make you overkill, and those slots you want, and then the set bonus is not going to have any value anymore either for you, and then you just want to switch to literally anything. Even like a silver blossom ring with drop rate would give you in the end a better outcome than using a reinforced just to get the set bonus that makes your range look higher.
Okay. Okay.
So
what you mean with that.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's fine to go into the reinforced pendant because that makes sense in your current setup that you use that one once the Dominator is transposed, but not specifically to try to get the set bonuses and stuff. That's kind of like out the window. I think if you have a farming Kana or something that's just going to stay a farmer forever, and you do have the pieces from a long time ago, I think for that it would be like an ideal setup because you're not really going to be switching those for a bossing setup anyway, and even if you do, you're going to be primarily a support, so it doesn't really matter how much damage you're actively putting out, right? But for your situation, I think it would be kind of like a detour that wouldn't really benefit your account, I think.
Okay.
So so the earring situation, does that make sense? What your options are there? It's still up to you, right? You can still be like, okay, 5, 10, 15 comes, I'm just going to get this to 17 and see if I can roll combination dex or meso and dex. If you roll full dex, then you can invest into the other earring, right? You can invest into the Diacitus and then use that one for drop rate instead. But so the thing with the eye in the face, considering that it like the flames are nice, but considering that one is epic and one doesn't even have potential, I think it's best to try to work on a second monocle and a second tattoo, because then if you do roll a lot of decks, you can just switch them out with this one and then re-roll the current ones for drop and meso instead.
Okay, yeah, it'd be kind of sad to get like 3 lines on one of those boss set items.
Yeah, it would just feel horrible. And we don't have trade, so this is like the only way you can kind of guarantee that you have somewhat of a parachute for yourself, somewhat of a safety net.
Okay.
That's a nice ghost ship exorcist potential, by the way.
Yeah, I got really lucky on that one.
Not as lucky as your hat.
Yeah, my hat as well. They're both really nice.
Yeah, you don't see that very often because hats junk lines are all over the place. There's so much horrible stuff, and rolling a 33 on there is yeah, you don't see that too much. Sorry?
I have like 3 good potentials, like 3 like near perfect, like my secondary, ghost, and hat, I guess.
Yeah, secondary is also really nice. Yeah, I mean it looks weird because it's the boss instead, right? And
yeah,
like ideally you want to get the 40 boss. I don't know. I have a secondary with 20 boss on my DA, so you know it can always be worse.
Also, it's like the not Princess No one. I had that.
Yeah.
That was back when Princess No was hard to kill, I think, or she wasn't even out. I don't remember.
I think you got like
that's
10
awesome.
keys. I think you could have 10 attempts per week, but every single time, or like you had to do the entire pre-quests, and then you can get 10 keys, I think, for a week, and then there was just a low chance of the secondaries dropping, and anyone's secondary could drop, so you could get the wrong one from the wrong class. And then if you didn't get it in a week, then you had to do the pre-quest again to get the 10 keys again for the next week or something. But you couldn't run 10 times a week. It was a really, really weird. There would even be a message on the bottom left, right, when somebody killed it. Like Princess No's efforts have halted at Hiaizan or something like that.
I remember that.
Yeah, that was it was a different time for sure. Yeah, that rework made it a lot more achievable. And then now the extra rework of the backups is going to be very important for you to run that weekly for the Kana treasure rings.
Yeah, I'm sitting on 3 right now. Just trying to build up a collection for transfers and whatnot.
That's really, yeah, you can see every kind of treasure you see as basically as like a free Meister ring, like all of the materials included in a Meister ring, right? Because if you do get to that point where your kind of treasure ring is good enough, then you can take all of the load off of needing to make Meisters, and instead you can just use the kind of treasures. Yeah, so for Abzo, I think the main thing would be 5, 10, 15, just bumping it up to 17. But other than that, I wouldn't Star Force further. Which means that most of the pressure is going to come on the items that will transfer into Abzo and on your CRA. That's where most of the pressure will come to make more stat. So if you do want to do like hard lucid and hard will and keep your Abzo at 17, you're most likely going to need your CRA to be at least 20 or 21 even, and most of your accessories to go up to 20.
Okay. And for potentials, should I leave it like a unique, or should I try to push for legendary on the Abzo as well?
Yeah, you probably want to push for legendary and like 2 lines of dex. That should be good enough. And for the glove roll, look for critical damage.
Yeah.
Like a line of critical damage plus a line of stat on the glove, I would say, and then like 23% on the other 3 pieces. That should be good enough. Looking at the flames, but I think the flames are probably roughly where you want them. They're pretty decent.
Yeah, I try to aim for like above 80 on all of them.
Yeah, they look pretty close to 80. Yeah. And I guess it would be for CRA. Maybe that depends on the. Well, yeah, no, their flames are fine for now as well. The major thing is going to be just Star Forcing Beyond, and since you're going to be Star Forcing Beyond, you can work on the potential. But yeah, like all of the potentialing for all your accessories is way more important because of the amount of junk lines on CRA. So your CRA is mainly going to be the focus when it comes to Star Forcing. Your accessories, the ones that are going to be transfer hammering into other stuff, for them the most important stuff is the Star Forcing first, and then potentials later. For the stuff that is going to stay on the item itself, the most important thing there is going to be the potential.
Okay.
And then when it comes to flames, all your stuff is actually pretty decent, so I don't think there's any major priority for flaming. The main thing would be to just probably flame other characters a little bit, maybe those bossing mules, so that you can do the bosses more easily on that. That'll also give you a little bit more of a desire to play them and to even progress on them. And then once Arcane gets closer, so I think the aim will be to see if you can make enough money and get enough clears for Lucid and Will and the hard bosses, to see if by the time the winter comes along, you can, or like by the end of the winter update, right, you can buy enough droplets to be able to switch over.
Yeah.
So that would be 1, 2, 3 times 2, 16, so 648 droplets in total for the whole set.
That's the only one event. That's fine.
Right. Yeah. So there is a chance that you could already buy some now, but like until you're going to switch the whole thing over, I would say that the weapon does have a lot of extra value if you can switch to the weapon earlier. But since you're already thinking about like switching characters and you still have to determine like which one you are, I would put a lot less pressure right now on switching to Arcane Weapon, and more on like figuring out which one you want to do and working on the hybrid gear that will work for both classes anyway. And there's the extra money that you're going to have to spend on the weapon and on the secondary anyway to see if the Pathfinder is worth it.
Yeah.
But yeah, after that, the next I think the next projects are kind of laid out.
Yeah.
Are you working on your Monster Parker medal?
No. I skip a lot of monster fights because it's just it's so much time and effort to remember how to do that. Like I already get lazy about MapleStory, so
yeah. Well, yeah. If you don't have the time, like it's easy for me to say like, oh, just do it every day. But I mean, yeah, it's a lot of time. If you don't have the time, then I can't really force you to do that, or even say that you do that. I'm not gonna make you feel guilty for not doing it. It's just as long as you know that it's there and the option's there, then that's
At
it.
some point, I'll start bringing reward points on the tickets because I have like 20 to 30k saved up. But until I actually feel the need to actually get the medal, I'm probably gonna stick with the current one. It's still not bad. It's like
no, it's not
almost
bad.
the
It's
exact
just
same
IED. Eventually, if you're just doing harder bosses, you want to get as much IED from sources that don't go at the expense of much other damage, and then the medal is just like, very prominently like, oh, what do you lose out on, like 6 stat and like 5 attack or something, and you get 10% IED for it. Like that's always a good trade. But yeah, it could be a routine thing that you just set up and you just log in and do it. You do have a lot of like Spiegelman coins. Do you have good coverage for the Monster Park potions, or do you kind of not use those very much?
I don't use the potions very often because I haven't been
Mm.
doing like hard bosses that needed them. I
Mhm.
have like what 30ish it could be potion at the moment.
Do you use the
So
gold
I've been
ones when you're
doing-
training?
Yeah, I use the gold ones
Oh, yeah.
at least. Yeah.
Yeah, I like
So
the
just
green.
whenever-
I like to use green and gold at least when you're training, and then red is only. Yeah, red is like probably never. But I do the one benefit from doing Monster Park regularly is that you can have so much access to these potions that you can use them on the mules as well when you're training them, and it'll speed them all up quite a bit.
Yeah, that's been my motivation to do like, oh, I should do Monster Park today because I need more coins for more potions.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I just throw them all in storage and then pick a few out, see how long you want to go. You want a half an hour, you want an hour, and then put everything back in the end. It's kind of how I do it. Yeah, is there anything when you're still wondering about how to go to the next step? Maybe a specific equip or a skill or a character? Anything you're wondering about?
No, I was mostly just looking to like, Legion and like what gears to prioritize for star forcing and whatnot. But
Mhm.
I think that's mostly covered. Yeah.
Wait, is it mostly? Is there anything that you still have any questions about?
Uh,
Because I'm here now, so.
I think I'm good.
Okay, but
So,
I
should I
want
just
you to
leave it-
know you're good, okay?
Okay, should I leave everything at 17 stars before pushing for harder, or should I like make the ring like push for like maybe 20 and leave something at like 17 or like 16 or something?
So the full answer is that depends on how much money you have at that time. But initially, I would say yes. Just try to push everything to 17 and just see how well that does for you. And then see if you have reasonable amounts of money left and quite a bit, and you have backups, you can always try to push. But I think if you make, because you're not swimming in cash, right? If you make more, not a timid amount of money, what do you say, like a modest amount of money, I think the best thing for progressing past 17 would be just go 1 star at a time, at one item at a time, and then you basically just make like kind of in your head like a priority list of which item is the most risk and which item is the lowest risk to upgrade, and you just start with the lowest risk ones first, and that'll probably be either the kind of treasuring if you have a bunch of backups, but beyond that it's probably going to be just the CRA gear first. That's where the most pressure is going, because you have so many backups.
So you don't like grab some fodder gear and make that 20 star before transferring, or 21 star?
That's the thing you can
work
do,
them.
but in most situations you'll do the CRA first because you don't have to transfer hammer afterwards, which means that every single star you get, or every single mezzo you spend goes directly into the Star Force rather than into the Star Force -1.
Okay.
So until you probably get your CRA to like 19 first before you start trying to push the other stuff, because like 19 to 20, that's where the real bad shit starts to happen. Up to 19 is actually fairly doable on most gear. There's the risk, so if you have backups, that takes a lot of risk away. But going past 19 is where I get really yikes. Like for example, like the past event, I tried to go to 21 on my arcanes, and like I got all 3 of them to 19, but none of them went 19 and boomed before they could. So now I'm stuck with 3 traces, but which is really painful if it's arcane stuff. But if it's CRA stuff, you just go again.
Yeah. What about Absolab? Do you just push that as well, or you go like Japanese and then push that to 21?
So if there wasn't the prospect of the switching it out with arcane and everything, and if that wasn't going to be as available as I can see that it is going to be because of the event shops, then I would say keep the current Absolab, save money, try to push 150s to 21, transfer hammer into this, and then redo the legendary and work on the flames and everything. But considering how accessible it's going to be and how close you already are going to be to, especially at least doing like normal lucid and normal will and start saving up the orbs from that, and then if you get the extra Star Force, like upgrade the potential, the extra Star Force, and the mainly those 2, and then get strong enough for hard lucid and hard will, and you can start running those for even more income of the weekly boss droplets. Then as long as you save up enough money by the time the winter event comes around, or like the end of the winter event, right? So it's not like, oh yeah, boom, it's like November 28th or whatever, like you have to buy them all. You'll have like another month and a half to make money after that. So we're probably looking like 7 months away from now, right? then you can just buy the whole thing, get and then replace the whole set immediately. And just for the long term, that means that all of that money disproportionately can go to other areas that are lower risk, which is like your CRA. And we'll do the transfer hammer thing, but just not with the Abzo, but you'll do it with specifically with like the ping bean belt into the superior belt, and with reinforced earring into superior earring, and probably with spare dominator pendants into the superior pendant.
Okay.
And then either with Meister or Kana treasure rings into the superior ring.
Okay.
So lots of
one more thing.
Yeah, sure, go.
Last thing is like, I need to get into normal lucid parties at some point. So my stat is around like 24 to 25k ish. I was wondering like, around what is a good benchmark, because I'm looking at the reboot Discord. Everyone's like, I need 20. Like everyone's like 28k stat arc or 32k Iran or whatever the heck they are. I'm just like, I'm not sure if my damage is high enough to like join a normal lucid party where I'm at right now.
Yeah, the thing with normal lucid is that I think the requirements will probably go down a bit once the change for the golems happens. Because now for easy and for normal, the golems take like a static amount of damage, right? Like it caps really easily at like, I think it's like 1 mil per line or 10 mil per line or something. So it takes a while to get through them. And for Marksman, that's not ideal because we don't have an insane amount of lines. Like we do a little bit if you're split shotting and you're using the cartridges. But then when that's gone, the lines are kind of just die. So we're not very useful in that. We're useful in the fact that we can stay in the corner and hit it from the corner and do the cleanses as a marksman, but that's about it. So once that change happens, I think the general stat requirement is going to go down because people are just very scared that they won't be able to get through phase 1 without losing like 8 lives and then dying to some dumb shit in phase 2, and then the run will be unsuccessful. So people are recruiting for very, very high stat because of that. I think once you are over 25k stat, you should reliably be able to just go into normal lucid and at least practice, and then from the parties and from the party runs, you should be able to see like, okay, do we really need way more damage, or do we just need to get better at what we're already doing, or do we need to get knockback resistance, or do we need better communication, do we need to learn the mechanics, that kind of stuff, versus we need 3 times the damage to be able to mow everything down.
Okay.
But don't underestimate like working on all of these things that we talked about. Will definitely set you on your way towards 30k stat. But I think if you have a whole party of 25k stat people who know what they're doing, Lucid should definitely be killable. But right now it might be a little bit class dependent. You'll need the line clear. You need like a Luminous, Ice Lightning, a Cannoneer, maybe an Arc, Kana to focus on the golems, right? That's just a little bit higher priority right now.
Okay. Soonish then, hopefully.
But it might be a good idea to find like 1 or 2 other people who also want to go and just go into like practice mode easy, for example, just to get kind of familiar with what do the indicators look like, like what kind of tells does Lucid have, how can you see that she's going to summon a dragon, hint there's a pan flute involved, and then you can kind of see, you can get used to the things, and once you already know the call outs, you'll be able to help your team in that way as well. But yeah, if there's like 400 people coming together and then they all want to do a boss fight, people are just automatically going to pick up like the strongest characters there, because that just, if everyone is the same baseline of mechanics, then that'll give them the higher chance of success. So that might be intimidating, but Also,
so I should still look for a party through like the REBOOT Discord, or should I look through it like some other means, like just join a fill in like the Smegas or whatever?
Yeah, I would just do a little bit of everything. Like if there's a party going and they need a fill, just be honest and be like, hey, yo, this is like my first actual run. Like I've tested a little bit and I've watched a video, but this is my first run. And if they're okay with it, then you can just join. And like the worst thing that can happen is that you can learn what not to do. But that's still a lot of valuable information for when you're actually going for a clear.
Okay.
But yeah, the sooner you get started, the better, because it is. You could be like, oh, it's so long away until I have to buy the droplets, and it's going to be so much money and everything. But you're very limited in how many of the resources you can make every week, and you have to start pretty early if you want to be able to afford it. Yeah. Because like 12 coins per piece, so it's like 16, and the weapon is 24, so that's 84 total. And if you get 1 per week from each, that means that you have to do 42 weeks, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which is, 11 months? 10 months? of running every single week. Yeah. So
that sounds terrible, but yeah.
Like in the beginning, there might be a bunch of fails, and there might be even some weeks where you get 0. But then once you do the hard ones, it's basically always 2 and sometimes 3, so that'll even it out.
Okay.
But yeah, it's a combination. So like a megaphone, or maybe in my Twitch chat, I have a Discord as well. Are you in my Discord?
Yeah.
Yeah, you have the boss roles there as well, right? For Lucid and Will, you can post there as well and be like, hey, I'm looking for a party. This is my stat. I'm a marksman. I'm very new. See if some people want to join. There's more and more parties in my guild as well that are starting. So if they're looking for someone, I don't know if your guild does like practice runs for those bosses. And then there's also Reboot Central. So yeah, you kind of have to look for all of those in the beginning, I guess. But once you know more people around your level who are doing the same thing, hopefully, they'll know where to find you and you know where to find them, and then you can help each other out, getting more practice and getting more runs.
Right.
Yeah, I always try to shout it out if anyone's doing boss parties or any kind of party interactive content. I always try to make sure to shout it out in my chat so that people can find each other a little bit more easily, because I don't like how, isolated this game has become because it can, right? People can just solo everything, and then we kind of lose the whole party element, sadly.
Single player mushroom game.
Yep. Yeah, it's definitely a thing these days.
And my nodes are okay for Lucid as well, because I know it's not just like stat, because it's hard to put in my notes, like I said, Pathfinder and whatnot. Is like 45 on boosts okay?
Wait, your nodes for Lucid?
Yeah, because like people's like 26k stat, whatever, like max boost nodes. I wonder if like where my nodes are at right now are okay.
Well, you could always do BA to kind of get an idea of where you're at. Are you able to solo Lotus and Damien?
So Damien, I have the damage. I just got screwed over by the lingering hitboxes a couple of times when I tried a while ago. But I don't have the damage for it. I got to phase 2 relatively easily. And for Lotus, I did manage to kill it, but I had to cheese phase 1 with the Tweety Bird. Because it's hard to kill like little mobs and then like dump around.
What I found for the phase 1 is that what is very valuable is jumping. I think I did a run like 2 days ago on my Marksman, but is to try to hit the middle guy all the way from the corner of the map and stay in the corner of the map pretty long until the robots come like right down to you. And then when the laser is like just underneath you, you just up jump to the right instead to go straight to the top platform, and then do the quick switch over to the other side, and then start from the other side. Because by then the robots from the other side are like floating in the middle, and they'll be pretty far away from you. And then once you're in the other corner, you can hit them with split shot from the other side. Either do that or put the true arachnid reflection down to kill the potatoes, or summon the bird, or what I also have is the lucid summon on my weapon. And like between all of those and split shot, using surge bolt and using high speed shot, you try to alternate only when you really have to and when they're like all kind of clumped together. But the main thing for the robots is to just walk away from them when they're gonna explode. that's like the main way to not, because their explosion range is actually very small. If they're right next to you, they're gonna explode, and you just walk away from them, their effect doesn't hit you anymore.
Okay.
So, but you have to give yourself you have to give yourself enough space between that and the laser moving and the debris falling, of course. So that combination is tricky, but that also just takes some practice.
Yeah. It's just hard hitting the little potatoes when like split shot's down and my piercing arrow like barely grazes them and doesn't hit them. It's just the verticality on piercing arrow is just so bad that it feels terrible to try to kill those.
Yeah, for sure. No, that's a thing. Yeah. Was that with guild skills, by the way, that you killed those?
Oh no, without no guild skills. I was just doing a practice run to see if I could.
Yeah, I think so. I think if you do with guild skills and you can do the clears in like around 10 to 12 minutes or something for Lotus, and maybe a little bit longer for Damien, because of because of him being gone and the blue ball phase at the end, it's probably like closer to 15 to 18 minutes, something like that. If you can kill around that time, then you probably have the DPS just fine. So it is possible. Your boost nodes are at like level 42, right? So yeah, I think boost node wise, I mean, like more is better, right? More is more damage. But if you're saving and maybe switching to Pathfinder, then I would just see what it is right now. See if you can get to those with like the things we talked about and with like the changes and the bigger buff coming from the event and all of that, and see if you can get to that point. And if you can, then that should be enough baseline to loosen it up.
Yeah, I soloed Lotus. I think I did around 10 minutes. I
Mhm.
don't remember the exact time.
Yeah,
And
it's pretty good.
Damien's a pain because my mind's 5 minutes with Erda.
Yeah,
so,
it's horrible.
yeah.
I feel that pain. Yeah, it's as soon as you can stop relying on needing to bind to kill the boss is like one of the best feelings because, yeah, that cooldown is just forever.
Yeah.
Not good. Yeah. Okay. Anything else?
Nope, that's it.
Okay.
That's my ideas for progression. Yep.
Okay, cool. Well,
Thanks so
best,
much.
Yeah, no problem. Best of luck on everything, and I'll see you around.
Okay, cool.
Okay.
You too.
Yep. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye. Awesome. All right. Some marksman progress. Yeah, my marksman progress was very uncharacteristic. I can't English anymore recently. I'm losing unconventional. That's the word I was trying to look for. I need to think about the words so much. Unconventional. Yeah, I made like really big jumps. I got to 250 in full 17-star CRA, with like some, I think a high dimension, no, a regular dimension invasion glove that was like 6% dex, I think, and that was pretty much it. Yeah, that's pretty much it. So yeah, hopefully this gave you guys some insight on what to work on if you're in a similar situation as the person that we just talked to. And yeah, I think it's a big idea now to not, if your idea is like I'm kind of poor, like I can kind of buy the droplets from the Maple Hotel, and then I can also buy some from the Neo Castle. Maybe that's enough to get the weapon going. You don't underestimate how many times you have to clear Lucid and or Will to be able to even make the coins so that you can afford the weapon, right? And even though there's droplet exchange, there isn't an exchange for the drops from Lucid or Will. So you're going to have to be killing those bosses for a long time. So I think what we talked about in this progression session is more realistic, that you're working towards getting at least those normal Lucid clears up and running as fast as possible, and that you save the money that you would get the droplets from and go crazy, because we know the KMST update is going to have 800 droplets in it, which is an insane amount, of course, which basically means more than one character full droplet gear, even if you don't have any yet, a full arcane gear, sorry, if you don't have any yet. If you already have some droplets, and maybe you can still buy a hotel, you can get 2 characters full 17-star arcane, maybe even, which is, insane. But you do have to get enough. You do have to have enough clears for the bosses, so you have to start running those ASAP, because 6 months will be over before you know it. But yeah, so hopefully that situation can resonate with some of you and give you guys some advice on what to work on. As always, I hope this helped you. And if you have, for me, any data on how many monsters you kill per hour, anywhere above level, above level 230, I guess. Training videos in Tenebris or in the new areas in Cernium or Burnium would be nice. Or battle analysis of you, especially now that the damage cap went up. I probably have to make a new tab with BAs for people now that the damage cap went up. If you're super, super high in the damage, make sure you mention whether you used the straw dummy or you used the wooden dummy in any of the other inputs would be, that would be helpful. So links for that. Or if you want to join my EU or NA guild, I don't manage the EU one, but closely connected to the person who does. There's also a link for that in the description. Or if you want one of these sessions for you as well, information about that is also in the description of the stream. And thank you for watching.